giving you the hair tips too? Oh, okay.
Are you kidding? She doesn't get up to about 3 or 4.
And we're live. Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Arcantu here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. So happy to have some time with you together this morning. It is Tuesday, and I am so grateful to have this wonderful woman here with me. As you know, YWTV is all about bringing conversations together to educate and inspire. And this during this time, the YWCA of Northern New Jersey also launched a Share the Mic campaign. As you may know, Share the Mic is a national campaign that started, fairly recently. That has really been about creating an opportunity to elevate the voices of Black women in our community and giving them a platform to be able to share their stories. And the thought behind it is really to create a bridge and trust between Black women and white women, because we know together we can make a great change that's needed, especially in our YWCA Northern New Jersey mission, which is also very closely linked to the mission of this woman's wonderful organization, to eliminate racism. And we need to work very closely, shoulder to shoulder, together on that. Um, Personally, I'm very grateful. Paula Madison-Ryner, who's here with us today, happens to be a personal friend and is an absolute force in her work with Black women and her work around health, education, and economic empowerment. Our organizations work closely together on lots of events, but one of the ones that I'm most proud of, I have to say, is our 50 Shades of Politics event, which we brought together, major, women powerhouses, Black leaders that are in office to help us get other Black women thinking about and learning about how they can run for office.
Mm-hmm.
It was an amazing event, and that's just one of many. We also did a wonderful event of book signing, Don't Abdicate the Throne, fairly recently too. So let me tell you a little bit about my friend Paula here. She's involved in public health for over 25 years. She's a strong advocate for health causes and issues. She was named one of the most powerful women in New Jersey in 2008 and 2018 and 2019 by Senator Loretta Weinberg. And for the past 3 years, she has held amazing position and done an amazing job with being the president of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the Bergen Passaic chapter. And the chapter's mission is to advocate on behalf of Black women and girls in the areas of health, education, and community-focused programs, which is just right up her alley. Under her leadership, I'm very proud to share that the chapter was named the National Model Chapter for the past 2 years of 2018 and 2019. And in addition to that, in her professional capacity, as you would think she wouldn't have time to do anything else, but the lady is a mom of two. She's a husband to a wife to a great husband. And she also has an amazing position where she oversees the quality management department for Envision Healthcare. And she's responsible for quality and compliance for over 200 hospitals and medical facilities in the Northeast region, covering New Jersey, New England, and the Mid-Atlantic states. So pick up your mug.
Good morning. I have my girl boss mug today.
If all that didn't tell you that she's a girl boss, her mug is. But I'm just so happy to have some time to chat with her, and so grateful that she's participating in the Share the Mic campaign with the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. As I said, this is a wonderful opportunity for people to learn and hear Black women's voices that, may have gone unheard until now. And the reality of it is there's so much amazing work that's being done in the national coalitions, all the work that they're doing. And this is such a great opportunity for you to learn about them if you don't know about them, and learn about ways that you can support them. So, Paula, let's get down to chat.
All right. Good morning again.
Good morning, friends. So, want to know, tell us a little bit about what motivated your interest and commitment in community activism and community service, because you are a machine. You're everywhere and planning everything for everyone.
I know. And I'm the party planner too for all the friends and family on top of everything. But I always tell this story. Growing up in the Bronx, my mother was very involved in community service. And I remember her dragging me along with her to all of these meetings, from the Democratic Club meetings to she was on the board of so many organizations. And I would go with her to all of these events and activities. I remember stuffing envelopes and the phone banks. And I think that really prompted my interest in giving back to the community and doing things with the community. And just like you'll see my daughter dragging along with me all the time, I hope that sparks her interest as well. But, it's very important. I grew up in the Bronx, in the South Bronx, but I'm a Jersey girl. But it's very important to give back to your community, especially, when you've been blessed and, you see an opportunity to do something to help others. So for me, I just feel like it's in my blood. I'm always, I like to be involved. I like to do things. So it's second nature to really be involved and to advocate on issues that affect us as a community.
Well, I love hearing your inspiration, and I particularly love, and I always love hearing your story about how you were pulled in and how you're pulling your daughter in, because it's so important that we pass this important civic responsibility to our next generation as well. There's
Yes.
it's very, very important work, and I love always hearing that. So tell us a little bit about the National Coalition of 100 Black Women in the Bergen Passaic chapter. Tell us about your work there.
Sure. So our chapter has been in existence for 30, going on 35 years this year. And the organization was formed after the civil rights movement for a way to give Black women a voice. It's so apropos that it seems like we've come full circle. We're going through our own civil rights movement again right now. So the organization was formed, our chapter was formed 35 years ago, almost 35 years ago in 1986. And it was formed as a way to advocate on behalf of African American women and girls in the areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. Areas where it really affects us as a community. So, we have about 50 so members in our chapter. It's a national organization. There are chapters throughout the United States, couple of thousand women, I think about 3,000 women overall, but we have about 50 women in our Bergen Passaic chapter. And we work in Bergen and Passaic County, advocating again on those issues: health, everything from breast cancer awareness, HIV/AIDS. It hasn't gone away. Recently we did COVID testing. Financial empowerment is important, home ownership, Black women business, entrepreneurship, and education, which is probably the most important. We can probably have a whole discussion on that, especially what's going on with the kids going back. Should they go back to school or not? But education is so important for our young girls, for our young men. HBCU, awareness of historically Black colleges and university, STEM, encouraging the kids to get involved in STEM activities. And then we have a role model program as well, where we mentor young high school girls. So those are some of the things that our organization does. I think last year we may have conducted about 40 or 50 programs. So we work hard.
You are busy, and I encourage
Yes.
watching, if you're not familiar with their work, you should go like their Facebook pages, go follow them on Instagram, follow them on Twitter. She is not kidding. There's always happening, and it's always something really important and impactful, and it's something that you want to be aware of and be involved with. So definitely follow them on all of their social media so that you can stay on top of it. And I also encourage you to attend their galas each year.
Yes.
It was a weird year, obviously, with everything that went on, so we didn't have them. But that this is a group of women. This is an organization that not only do they do good, but they have a lot of fun together, and definitely someplace that you want to be.
Thank you.
Definitely connect. So it is, as you said, we're kind of almost in another civil rights movement of our day, of our time. So can you tell us a little bit about the National Coalition and how you are aligned with the Black Lives Matter movement?
So again, the mission of our organization is so aligned with the Black Lives Matter movement, fighting for our rights. We do a lot of work around public policy and advocating legislation that affect Black families, Black women, Black girls. So the Black Lives Matter movement is something that we've always done. It's just a part of what we do. We participated in some of the local rallies and marches and protests because it's important that we have a voice in what's happening in this country. Racism is still alive. Unfortunately, it hasn't gone away. And so it's important that we're out there on the front lines speaking on behalf of the Black woman. And so the Black Lives Matter movement is extremely important, not only to the African American community, but to the larger community. I have a sign in my lawn that says, if you're silent, you agree.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just for the African American community to speak up against what's going on with the police brutality and all of the other things that we're seeing, but everyone has to speak up and speak out on what's wrong and advocate on behalf of what's correct and what's right.
That's right. That's right. Until we're all equal, none of us are equal, as they
That's
say.
right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
together, and I stand with you.
Yes.
You talked about all this amazing work and the different areas that the coalition is working in. Now, I'm going to ask you a question that's going to make you have to almost like choose who's your favorite child. But what
Uh-oh.
do you think the impact that you guys have had on the community has been within all of those programs and all the work you're doing?
Oh, I can't say that. Like I say to my son, you're my favorite son. My daughter, you're my favorite daughter. Because it's only one.
Yes.
Um, it depends on the area. I think we've made an impact across the board. For instance, like I said, we recently did COVID testing with the NAACP. And that was important because we felt that in the African American community, the testing wasn't as rampant and widespread. And so we felt that it was important to do COVID testing. Breast cancer is still around. We know that African American women die at higher rates of breast cancer. And so our health initiatives are very important. I'm always biased for health because I was a health committee chair for, I think, 6 years. So I'm a little biased about health. But, we raised over $22,000 this year in scholarships that we provided to young women going to college. So that, was amazing. And we did this all through private donations. We reached out to our friends and family and asked them to provide. So that was important to us, that we give back to young women to help them continue on their journey to college. And then again, economic empowerment and home ownership and financial awareness, that is so important to our community. And I can't say that without saying public policy and public our advocacy issues with public policy. So all of the issues that we work on across the board are just as important as the next one. So Helen, don't get me in trouble with my chairs.
Part. I have to say, I'm always. I mean, you know me. I love to come to so many of the events, but I'm always so particularly struck by your program with the young women,
Yeah.
and the work that you do and the amount of young women that you give their help them have their next phase of their life with their college scholarships. I think is amazing.
Yeah, and my daughter's in the program this year in our role model program. So I really see the work that my manager is over there giving me tips. I can't hear what he's saying. He's over there saying something to me. So, the work that we do with the young girls is very important. But I also have to say, we also have an arts and culture committee. I always, I get in trouble with arts and culture. That's one of our advocacy areas as well. So the book signing that we did, it's important that we highlight African American art and culture. So that's one of our programs, working with the TIFF every year, the Teaneck International Film Festival. So I cannot forget that committee as well.
Yep. No. There's no doubt it's far reaching. And I have to say, I've been so blessed since I've been at the YWCA. I've had this wonderful opportunity to work with your former presidents, Beachy and Yvonne, and now you. And You know, it's just amazing to see the impact and the depth of your work. So, thinking about that and thinking about the future, I know you're still in the president's chair for a little while. What do you
One
think?
more year, one more year, Helen. It's been 3 years.
And and I don't know, you know, folks in the community, please understand this is a volunteer commitment, and it is not the volunteer light version. It is all in.
It's work.
It
If
is.
you want to be a part of this organization, that's the one thing we say to you. We do a lot of work, so you have to come in and be ready to work.
So, what do you think the future is for, you know, what do you think your next chapter is as an organization? Where do you see you guys heading?
That's a good question. Again, because the what I'm saying is the civil rights movement has come full circle. I think our work will be more important now in the future. COVID has made things a little different, doing programs virtually, but we're still continuing with the same programs, with our same mission, with our same advocacy and awareness. So I think the future of NCBW is definitely bright. I think we will play more of a role in the Black Lives Matter movement and working with politicians and elected officials to get laws passed and legislative passed on issues that are important to us as a community. Things from police brutality, community policing. These are issues that are so important to the community. And I think we have a role at the table. Our event we did, a seat at the table, it's important that we have a seat at the table. So one of our activities that we've done is to encourage African American women to get involved in a political arena. And that's the program that you mentioned earlier that we did with you, the 50 Shades of Politics.
Mm-hmm.
So getting African American women involved in the political arena and coming to the table and voicing, the issues that are important to us as a community. So our future is definitely bright. We'll be around for another 35 or longer years, because until society changes, then we will always have a voice and we will always make a difference in what's going on in the community.
Well, I know you will continue to stay relevant and impactful for sure. There's absolutely no doubt. And I know as we were chatting last week on the phone, and I said to you, I think we are primed and ready for that part 2 of our 50 Shades of Politics.
Yeah.
It's clear to me that we pushed a lot of Black women and women of color to run for office. And some of them are now there, but they're not necessarily being supported the way that they need to be and being embraced that they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Way to in the way to continue to grow and have an impact. So as you know, that's one of our next projects together, is to definitely launch that discussion.
Yes. And African American women have been the transformational vessel in politics. When we get involved, we make things happen. So we will definitely be around and be in that area. I'm looking at my Facebook Live as well, and I see a question.
Right.
Yeah. It says, have you ever think about running for office?
Ever asked the question? Don't worry, Deborah, I was right there with you. And she'll tell you I ask her it all the time.
First of all, I think I might have to choose between my marriage and running for office. I think my husband would die.
He's over there helping. I was just going to say, one of the things I think that is so special about you, and part of the reason that you are really able to do so much, is that you have such a tremendous support network around you, which is something that you cultivated and created. You have your amazing husband who is back there kind of cheering you and helping you over there. You've got your kids that are all in and active, and your family. I mean, they're all obviously on here. A lot of them are on here watching you, the friends that you've cultivated. So how do you create that? How have you, what have you done personally? And, what is your philosophy around that? Because I think that a lot of women want to have an impact and want to be involved, but they get overwhelmed by what it really takes. And we know, we can both speak to, it takes a lot.
It takes a lot. I think you have to be dedicated. You can't be, I was about to say a word, you can't be half-assed. Can I say that? This is really like a full-time job. If you see me right now, I have this computer, my laptop, I have my work laptop right here. I'm kind of, if you see me looking to the side, then I have my iPhone. So, family, faith, and focus are the three most important things to me. My faith in God is, it's unwavering. And like you mentioned, my family is so supportive, from my husband, my kids, my sisters, nieces, and nephews. I see some of my nieces on here. And then the friendships are important. And I think if you're a real person and if you come across genuine, then people will support you and know that you're really in it for the right reasons, not for the acclamations or the accolades, the affirmation I meant to say,
Mm.
but you're in it to do the right thing. And that's the most you can do. Just be genuine and show that you're real and you're committed to the cause.
Oh, I could not agree more. And yes, family, faith, and focus. That's great. A great saying for us to meditate on for sure. So
Hmm.
before we wrap up our time together today, I wanted to ask you. So the last few months,
Hmm.
like many of us, we've all been living in our four walls of our family and the juggling act, and
Hmm.
talked about the juggling act of family, the juggling act of work, the juggling act of your community service. How are you? And I know health is important to you, taking care of yourself, and evolving your health into a better place. I know has been a real personal goal and important to you as well. How are you? What tricks do you have for women? Um, to how you've gotten through this time, because again, it's been a different kind of stress than usual stress, as if we didn't have enough, right?
Yeah, exactly. Gosh, I can't even say wine because I kind of gave up on wine.
It's
But
it's the tea. It's the tea.
it's the tea. It's the tea. COVID has really change things in a different way. And depending on how you looked at it, it could be positive, it could be negative. Like you said, one of the things that I decided as we went into this quarantine was to make a better focus. I don't know, something's popping up on my computer. Focus more on my health. Since we've been on lockdown, on quarantine, I've lost 50 pounds. I've been walking every day, exercising, watching what I eat. So it's been a personal journey to focus on my health. But you just have to stay focused, prayerful. I think my prayer life is definitely in my spiritual life has definitely become stronger throughout this COVID season as well. Now, granted, I have my days where I'm feeling like I'm going stir crazy, and lately it's like, oh my God, I could have been on at least 3 vacations by now. I'm going a little crazy. But what can you do? This morning I woke up and I said to my husband, okay, we need to declutter. We just have too much stuff. So you just have to focus on the positive things that will keep you mindful, and that will make you happy and in focus and not go crazy
Yeah,
throughout it all.
for sure, for sure. Well, that's really, really good advice. Well, I'm
Mm-hmm.
so glad that you could make this time to chat with me this morning. I always enjoy time with you, as you know. And I also want to encourage everyone watching again to follow and get connected to the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the Bergen Passaic chapter, learn about the work that they're doing. It's really, as I said, I've had the absolute honor of being connected to this organization over my time with the YWCA, and it is really, there's such a tremendous impact that they're having. And it's important for you all to be connected, involved, and supporting it as well. I also encourage everyone who has a platform like the YWCA does, to share the mic with Black women in our community, whether it's organizations, whether it's businesses, or whether it's individual leaders. It's important. I mean, this is how we build bridges. This is how we're going to feel comfortable standing shoulder to shoulder. Even if right now it's 6 feet apart, eventually we will be back together, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
And this is how we're going to make tremendous change in our community together. We're going to be listening to Black women, and we're going to be supporting them and helping address all of the issues that we need to for our society. I know a lot of people say, that we're going to leave it to our children because they're the next generation. Um, we should try to clean it up for them.
Yeah.
For them. So we can do it. We can do it together.
Yes.
And so with that, look, I have to say, I have the best job ever. I get to have the best week ever because I got to spend today with my friend Paula. Tomorrow I get to spend the day with my friend Assemblywoman Huddle and AARP State Advocate Evelyn Liebman to talk about senior legislation and caregiver in the senior services, senior community, and caregiver information. So please join us for that conversation at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, I'm so proud and hope that you can join us for a very special event. It's a solidarity circle that we're hosting with our young people in our community. And the amazing and wonderful Jeanette Curtis is co-hosting with me for our Solidarity Circle and bringing you through the arts, our young people's voices
One of
about
our
how
founding
to build.
members, Jeanette, is a founding
Yeah,
member of NCBW.
she's another force, and
Mhm.
so together we're going to be hosting a wonderful event of our young people and sharing how racism has impacted them and how they want to be
Mm.
in our world. So please join us for that. And then on Thursday, I get to also hang out with Senator Cory Booker and talk with him. We know we've got a big election year ahead of us, but talking about systemic racism and the intersectionality of important issues like healthcare and gender violence, economic equality, and the intersection for Black women and women of color. So I hope you can join us for those events. And I top off the week on Friday with Joanna Callie talking about some insights on immigration issues and where they stand today. So I'm very excited for this week. There's so many great conversations, and thank you for starting it with me, Paula. Always wonderful to
Thank
see you.
you. And, thank you, Helen, for the work that you do in the community. You're in everything, you're everywhere, your programs are innovative. The work that you do on behalf of racial equality is outstanding. So thank you for being the person that you are and all the work you do with the YWCA on behalf of women and the community. It's a pleasure working with you always, and we appreciate your partnership.
Well, I hope the YWCA, at least while I'm the leader here for sure, and I know our amazing board is right aligned in all of our leadership in our organization, and our staff feel the same way. Our point here is to make our mission, live. And
Mm,
we can only do that by listening, to communities and hearing what they need and then standing with them. So I'm grateful, for our now friendship, but started out as a partnership. And I do believe relationships are the foundation of everything,
right.
everything and positive moving forward. So happy to do more together. Everyone,
Yeah.
the sun's shining. If you're in this part of New Jersey today, get outside, enjoy a little vitamin D, and have a great day. And we look forward to seeing you. Remember to follow the National Coalition,
Yeah.
follow our site, Mike, and learn more about Paula and this wonderful organization. 35 years